In this Google Ads tutorial, I'm going to show you step by step how to set up a Google Ads campaign from start to finish. Also going to show you some very important tips along the way that will save you a tremendous amount in wasted ad spend, as well as improve your profit margin right out of the gate. If you're new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. We will come out with 1 to 2 tutorials each and every week, and not just over AdWords, but other marketing platforms as well. Also, if you're new to the Google Ads system, please understand that we will walk you through this step by step. We will take a lot of the intimidation out of the setup for you, and by the end of this tutorial you will have some expert understanding of the proper setup, as well as how to refine your campaign even beyond the setup point. Okay, to get started, you first need a Gmail, and then you want to go to ads.google.com, where you'll be presented with their welcome screen that says grow your business with Google Ads. Once you hit start now, you'll be presented with 3 different advertising goals that they highlight. What we actually want to focus on though is the little blue text here at the bottom that says switch to expert mode. I know that may sound intimidating, the fact that it says switch to expert mode, but if you really want to have the full control over your campaign and all the settings within that allow you to turn it into the well-oiled marketing machine, which I'm sure you want to, then you definitely want to go to this option, which is switch to expert mode, because if you don't choose it from the beginning, you can't change it to that later. Next, we will come across our next option in our campaign setup, and that is to narrow down our campaign goal a little more specifically. We're going to focus in this tutorial on a pretty common campaign type, and that is something that would apply whether you're in a service industry or you sell some type of a product. It's where we focus on website traffic and phone calls. So to get started, we're going to click on leads as our goal, and as far as campaign type, we're going to click on search, and then we are going to check mark next to website visits and phone calls. We're just going to come up with an arbitrary website address. We'll call it plumbingtoday.com, and then we'll enter a fake phone number for the sake of the tutorial. But one thing I want you to keep in mind is that whatever phone number you enter here, Google is going to automatically make a call extension out of, which means that they will show it with your ad occasionally, giving people the option to just click the phone number and call you directly from your ad, bypassing your website altogether. That's a pretty nice option, especially if you consider a phone call a valuable conversion, and in the plumbing industry or most service industries that would be considered a valuable conversion. We're not going to really focus on store visits, app downloads, or lead form submissions in this tutorial, although we will go into a little bit of an overview on lead form submissions as well as creating conversion actions. For now, we're just going to click continue. Okay, now we get to name our campaign, and we will just give it a generic name. We'll name it plumbing. On the campaign level, we don't have to be highly specific because the ad groups will come under the campaign level, and that's where we would really focus on the sub-services of what we offer. So right now we're just going to give the campaign name the name plumbing, and I want to point out when we get to this stage that by default Google is going to have the search network and display network both checked. Search network is not the same quality of traffic as Google search. It's not even necessarily search traffic. It's third-party websites or Google partner websites, and it could be somebody that has just recently visited a website that pertains to your service or product or has shown interest in. Again, not the same quality, so we don't want to really add that in the beginning of our campaign. It's something we would want to add in later after we have a more refined campaign, and then we can see how that plays in to the overall conversion value. The display network, you may want to set up a display campaign, but you never really want to mix it with your search campaign. The reason why is because by mixing the display with your search campaign, you do not get the same type of granular control over all the settings within your display campaign, which is highly important to get the very most value out of that campaign. Okay, so next we will come across location options. This is one area that I feel that we have a pretty unique approach to. What I will show you in the beginning may be something that you've come across before, but we do take it to a pretty far extent to block as much unwanted traffic from outside of our target area as possible, as well as giving us more control over our target area. So for starters, we'll open up the location options and choose the second option down under your target and excluded locations. And we'll just pretend like, for the sake of this tutorial, we want to target the United States. But rather than target the United States at its default setting, we're going to actually check next to enter another location and then click on advanced search, where we will then click on add locations in bulk. So I'm going to go to a list that we've already added to a spreadsheet of all the states in the United States, and we're going to copy and paste that into this box, and then we're going to click search and click target all. Now, the reason we want to add each individual state rather than target the United States on a whole is because as we get conversion data, we can see which states perform the best, and we can adjust each state's bid level based on how well it performs to the other states. That's a type of control that we don't get if we target the US in one giant fell swoop. So now, while we still have this open, we're going to go back to our same list where we have already added all of the countries outside of the United States, and we are again going to paste that into the same box, click search, and in this case we are going to click exclude all. Now you'll see all of the countries outside the United States have been highlighted red. This may seem a bit excessive, but it's the one way that we found to block pretty much all irrelevant traffic, or virtually all irrelevant traffic, from outside of our target locations. Okay, so now we come across languages, and by default Google has already added English and Spanish since we're targeting the United States. You can uncheck either that don't apply, or you can add more if you have services that you offer in languages other than English and Spanish. As far as audiences, we're going to go ahead and skip over this because it's a little premature right now to go ahead and know how to set our audience targeting since it's a brand new campaign. On budget, this can be anything from as low as $5 a day to the sky's the limit. Typically you want to go ahead and set it at a low budget in the beginning since it's a brand new campaign and you're still kind of in test mode as far as the ads and keywords. So we'll just go ahead and say $50 per day. On the bidding, this is something where Google is going to have some recommended bidding strategies. What we usually do with brand new campaigns is we focus on actually selecting a bid strategy directly. I know it says not recommended, but the reason we do this is because by going with manual CPC, that gives us not only the ability to adjust our bids at the keyword level, but it's one of the only bid strategies that gives us the ability to set an actual maximum cost per click. So again, very important in the beginning to have as much control over each individual area as you can, and manual CPC seems to be the best way to target your bids and keywords on a per bid basis. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to come across some ad extensions. There are actually quite a few more ad extensions than what you see here. These are just some of the main ones that apply to most businesses and some of the more common ad extensions. We'll go into more detail about these as we get a little bit farther along. So for now, we'll just click save and continue. So now you've come across your ad group, and here is where you get to give a name to your ad group, and this is going to be some type of subservice of your main service. So in this case, your main service being plumbing, so this would be something like drain cleaning. And then you will come down to where you want to set your default bid. This is not where each individual keyword has to stay at within this ad group. It's just the amount that they're going to go into the ad group when you add new keywords. So typically you would want to set your default bid at a lower bid than what you ultimately think you're going to want to set your keywords at. Down here I've actually added some different keywords just to show you the different match types. This is full broad match, so this really leaves a lot of room for irrelevant traffic to come through in the beginning before you have a more refined campaign. I'm going to show you how to, what would go into refining your campaign more so once you get it kicked off. Again, typically you want to avoid broad match unless you have maybe a 4 or 5 word broad match. The more words you have, the more targeted that phrase will be. This is modified broad match, so it's kind of in between broad match and phrase match. When you enter these plus signs in front of the words, you're letting Google know that you want them to either use the word that has the plus sign in front of it or some variation thereof or some type of misspelling of that word. The words without plus signs are the ones that you're letting Google know can go either way, as long as they get, so in this case, as long as they get the words drain cleaning or some variations there of those two words in the search, you're okay with that. You feel like it will be 9 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10 relevant in that case. Phrase match is when you have parentheses around the words. In the beginning, I would typically avoid 2-word phrase match because that can still let quite a bit of unwanted, irrelevant traffic through. So that's our preference, is we avoid them. There are occasions where we may use a 2-word phrase match, but we set the bid accordingly until we see what type of search terms are coming in from that particular keyword, and we can block some of them, blocking some of that irrelevant ad spend or irrelevant traffic. This is exact match, and even exact match does not mean necessarily exact match. They could actually enter in drain cleaners or something like that. It's as targeted as you can get with the keywords, but again, it doesn't even necessarily mean that it's going to only allow searches to come through where they enter exactly drain cleaning. It could be a misspelling still, or it could even be some variation of the word cleaning, for instance. Okay, so now, and actually to do proper keyword research, you really want to go to not only the keyword planner, but you can also use suggestions from Ubersuggest. For instance, if you enter drain cleaning, it's going to pull up suggestions not just from Google's keyword planner, but other third-party sites. So it's pulling in keyword suggestions from multiple different platforms. You can also use websites such as SpyFu, where you can enter in your competitor's website and you can see what words they're targeting in their Google Ads campaigns. Typically, these are search terms that they put a lot of money behind and probably a lot of time getting these keyword lists refined to this point. So it's a great place to really see some keyword suggestions that may pertain to you. The nice thing about SpyFu is you can also export the list, and then if it's some service that you don't offer, then you can filter that out through the spreadsheet once you've exported it. So you can take what applies to you and upload that into your campaign and remove what doesn't apply to you. So next, after we go ahead and enter some keywords, we're going to be taken to building our first ad. And in this case, this is what they call a responsive text ad. So this gives you the ability to enter multiple headlines as well as multiple descriptions. The idea here is that by having multiple headlines, it gives Google more ability to match up what someone is searching with the headline, making it more relevant to the searcher. So for instance, for drain cleaning, we could have drain cleaning service, drain cleaning specialist, locally owned drain cleaning, or you could put drain cleaners, locally owned drain cleaners, fast and friendly drain cleaning, anything that maybe has your keyword in it as well as pertains very specifically to your service. In the description, you can have something like that makes it a little bit more humanized, especially if you're a local service company. You can have something like local and family-owned plumbing since 1955. Call us today for a free estimate. So whatever you think really speaks to someone. Also having some numbers in your text or in your headline can also make you stand out, because there's a lot of text in ads, not nearly as many numbers, so that can also help draw attention to the eye. And at that point, you go ahead and save and continue. And now you'll be taken into your campaign for the first time. From here, you can actually click on your campaign tab, and you can click on your keywords, so you can start exploring, looking at your keyword list, refining it, adjusting bids. One thing I really want to point out is, as you start getting clicks, one tab you'll really want to visit quite often, especially so in the beginning, is under the keywords where it says search terms. This is where you're going to see specifically what people have typed in to pull up your ad, and it's the place that you're going to see search terms that might not be relevant to what you offer. So it might be, say in this instance, how to. In the plumbing industry, the two words together, how to, might not be relevant, because it might be somebody looking up how to clean my own drain or how to unclog a drain. So this is where you're going to come across search terms that you would want to block, and to do that, you can either block it from within the search terms report by just highlighting the keyword and then clicking exclude and excluding it right from there. You can also add negative keywords manually anytime you want to the campaign by typing them in. Usually, if you can think of any keywords that you would consider negative right from the offset, that would be great. You can go ahead and add them in before you waste any ad budget from those words being used in a search. It's really hard to think of every single negative keyword right out of the gate, so unfortunately you're not going to come across a lot of them except through your search term reports. But definitely look at your search term reports quite often and look for anything that, any type of word being used that wouldn't be relevant to your service or product, and block them on a regular basis. That's really where a big part of your refinement is going to come from. And as you start blocking more and more negative keywords through search term reports, you can start opening up some of your keywords into a more broad match, because they will be offset from those negative keywords. Okay, I now want to go over your ad extensions, which I told you I would go over in more detail. So to get there, we'll click on Ads and Extensions, go down and click the Extensions tab. And from here we can click the blue plus sign, and this will open up all the different options that we get for ad extensions. Site link extensions at the top. This is basically where you want to send someone to different areas, give them the option to go to different areas on your website from within your ad. Let's see, you could have something like our services, about us, contact us, and it will show these little links at the bottom of your ad. And contact us, for instance, would obviously connect to your contact us page, our services to your our services page. Call out extension, kind of like a call to action, free shipping, something that is designed to kind of give a little enticement or excitement to that visitor to click on your ad and visit your website. Structured snippet, these won't apply to every industry, but if you open it up, you'll see that when you go and look at the different options, it could be amenities, brands, courses, the list goes on, but something to where you can kind of highlight, say you rent luxury apartments, you can list amenities, you sell online courses, you can give different course options that they can choose from. So this doesn't necessarily apply to every type of service or industry, but if it does, definitely well worth taking advantage of. You have your call extension, which is automatically created when we add the phone number as we're setting up the campaign. Lead form extension is a new option. It's a pretty neat option because it gives you the ability to actually build a lead form within your Google campaign. So someone can actually fill out a form without even visiting your website and inquire about your services. Location extension, that applies to brick and mortar locations. gives them the ability to see where you're located, even map it out. Same thing with affiliate location extension. As far as your price extension, this would be something for if you're selling a product, or maybe you have something that you rent, or you have a service that you want to attach a price to. App extension, that would apply to businesses. Say you're a bank and you offer an app as part of your service to your customers, so you can have an extension for that. And promotion extension would be something that wouldn't necessarily be a price that is ongoing, but something that you're offering a promotion, maybe 10% off for a limited time. So usually you can attach a time frame to a promotion extension. And yeah, anyway, that is pretty much it for this tutorial. I really appreciate you sticking around. I hope you gained a lot out of this tutorial. If there's something that I didn't go over specific enough, then please make sure and send us a comment. We'd be happy to answer your questions. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We will be putting out 1 to 2 tutorials each and every week, and not just over Google Ads, but other marketing platforms as well. And please make sure and give us a like if you found value in this tutorial. Thank you. Bye-bye.